Bobby, tell us a little bit about Fishers of Men Ministries and Fishers of Men National Tournament Trail.
Okay, well, Fishers of Men National Tournament Trail is a team tournament organization. It's a bass fishing tournament trail, but it's also a ministry, and the ministry actually comes first. The way this works is we have all of our events are preceded by a pre-tournament meeting, and at that meeting we invite a speaker to come and share a message with an inspirational message with our anglers. It's not a required meeting, but we make it worth their while to come to the meeting by offering them points that'll add towards their season total and give them a better chance to make it to the championship tournament. It's an organization that was started several years ago, back in 1997, 98. Al Odom in South Carolina started it out. In 1999, I joined up with Al, and we've been working together ever since. We started with 4 divisions back in the very first year. We're up to 82 different divisions now, including our team series and legacy series. So we're rapidly growing all over the country.
Awesome, awesome. Now I know I act as a volunteer myself because I believe in the ministry and I believe in what it does. And I've been fortunate to do it on a number of different division levels, as well as legacy level. Tell us a little bit how the concept of the adult junior legacy came into play.
Well, it was a group effort amongst our leadership team, which is made up of myself and Al, the national director, and the regional directors. There are 7 of us on the leadership team. We were looking for a way to involve juniors in the sport and in the ministry that we're involved in. So we came up with the idea of doing a legacy series, which is 1 adult on a team and 1 junior on a team. It's much similar to our team series, except for that. The day is shortened a little bit because we do have some really young juniors that are out there, and all the way up until 3 o'clock is a long day for the little guys. So we do shorten the day a little bit. The entry fee is a little less. It's actually half of our team series because we figure one person is probably going to be paying the bill on this, which is hopefully dad or grandpa or grandma. Have several father-son teams, lots of grandfather-son teams, lots of mother and daughter teams, mother and son teams, the full range. They don't even have to be related. Sometimes it's just a neighbor kid that wants to go fishing with you, and it's worked out great. We've had, we're up to 35 different divisions around the country with that. We just finished up our championship tournament for the 2010 season with 246 boats in that event at Guntersville, Alabama. So it's just been exploding in popularity, and we're really, really happy to have it.
Well, I'm excited to be part of that because I believe big time this sport is all about getting it to the youth, getting away from the video games and getting them out on the water, and the best way to do it is to show best example you can as an adult. And so I'm fired up about it, and can't wait for the 2011 season and
Right.
see the growth and see some of the changes we're going to be able to put in place to make it even bigger and better. It's going to be
Right.
awesome.
And we've already got some new divisions that have some directors have stepped up to start new divisions for the next season, for the 2011 season, and it's going to continue to grow. I've said since we started, eventually the Legacy Series will outgrow the Team Series, even though it's not been around as long, because it's just such a popular thing. And you know what we try to do, we've got really 2 main goals with Legacy. Number 1 goal is to introduce kids to our faith. We want to share our views and show them how we believe, because there's lots of people out there that's going to fill their heads with lots of different ideas. We're not going to force ours on them, but we want to make sure our beliefs get in there with the others so they can have that choice also. And then the second purpose is to get kids involved in our sport.
Yep.
We have a sport that is statistically, most of the people in our sport are older people, and statistically the number of people in our sport is going smaller every year because juniors are not getting involved. So by involving them in this with an adult that knows what they're doing and they can actually compete on a tournament level, we feel like we're growing members for our sport in general.
Now, how many members do you think that we've probably had in the number of years that the Fishers has been around? I know our divisions have grown from heck all the way to Colorado, all the way up to New York, down to Florida. Mm-hmm. So pretty much, you know, at one point in time, I think we were the fastest growing east of the Mississippi.
Right.
But tell us a little bit more about maybe the number of members and the scope of how big we've really become as an organization.
Well, this year and last year we've run just under 5,000 members, active members, in each of the past 2 seasons. Next year I believe it probably will go up because we have several new divisions. Overall, in the past years, we've had roughly a little over 20,000 people who have come through our system as a member, and either are still there or have gone on to other things. We have members that come in for a year and then they'll go do something different for the next year, and then they'll come back the following year. You know, bass fishing's like that.
Yep.
Guys rotate around a lot.
A lot of it's schedule, a lot of it's based on
right.
what tournament they want to fish this year and what their buddies want to do and things like that. So I think you're always going to have that. So I don't so much look at that, but I look at the solid growth and the loyalty. Fishers of Men has a tremendous amount of loyalty, and I think even factories.
Right.
I mean, obviously I'm a businessman. I know the factories appreciate the loyalty of a Fishers of Men organization probably more than anybody else. I know we were paying out Triton bonuses at almost an outrageous number compared to anybody else as far as that goes. So it's just a tremendous power to what Fishers of Men has. Let's talk a little bit about the ministry side. We've obviously impacted people's lives for a very positive way in a very strong spiritual manner. What kind of numbers have we looked at in that kind of capacity?
Well, this year alone, just during the 2010 season, we've had 140 first-time decisions to follow Christ at our meetings on Friday nights, and we've had a little over 700 rededications. Throughout the years, it's actually been around 4,000 first-time commitments and around 10,000 rededications throughout the years of Fishers of Men, and those are all at our meetings.
4,000 people impacted for Christ. 4,000 people whose lives will be forever changed because of something called bass fishing.
That's right.
That's awesome. Isn't that awesome?
It's incredible.
That's what makes this ministry so special. Your capacity. You know, give us a little bit of background on Bobby Eads. I know we always have a good time with Bobby. Bobby's laid back and we always kid him about his fishing, but he loves to fish. You've had a chance to sort of change your life from where you were to what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We've since I began with Fishers of Men, a lot has changed. I've got my wife at home. I've got the best wife in the world. She lets me fish anytime I want to, and you know, she really supports me in it. We've been married for be 29 years this October. Yeah, since Fishers of Men came along in our lives, at the time when I got involved, I was working full-time as a firefighter and in the city of Bedford, Indiana. I continued to do that for a few years until this job of vice president became such a big job there just wasn't any possibility of doing both at the same time. So I left my job as a firefighter to do this full-time. It's been kind of a whirlwind ever since then. I'm on the road probably average 40 to 60,000 miles a year in my truck, traveling around visiting divisions and going to events. Occasionally I get invited to wild game dinners and that sort of thing, so I love doing that kind of thing. Get to go around and speak to a lot of groups of anglers, mostly our groups, our Fishers of Men groups, and although I'm not what I would call a public speaker, I do enjoy it. I love connecting with the guys and meeting people and get to see new places and come to places like this and go fishing with good friends.
Awesome. Now your situation right now, with where do you see Fishers of Men in 5-10 years?
I see Fishers of Men pretty much the same as it is, only bigger and reaching more people. You know, we've got such a good thing going. I'm one of those kind of guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know. And right now we've got a good system that's working real well. There's always going to be a few adjustments. You know, every year our leadership team and all of our directors, we get together and discuss our rules and see if there's anything that needs adjusted or tweaked a little bit, you know, to make it more enjoyable for the anglers and to make it also a little more manageable for our directors. But overall, we've got a good thing going. We really, you know, the Lord has blessed us with what we've done. We don't make any major decision without a lot of prayer beforehand. And as long as the Lord keeps leading us to do things the way we're doing them, I don't see a lot of big changes. We just hope to be growing geographically and you know, spreading a little farther out to the west and a little farther up into the northeast. We eventually would love to have divisions in every state in the continental U.S.
Maybe even at some point in time, even internationally, maybe?
Well, yeah. In fact, we actually have talked with some people in Canada about. We have a person that was. He was planning to start a division for the 2011 season, but it's not working out with his schedule. So probably 2012 will be in Ontario, just across from Detroit.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, people don't realize, and I think a lot of people need to know this, is that Fishers of Men is a totally nonprofit organization. It's a federally 501c3. So we have to really be really good stewards of God's money. We can't abuse it. We can't abuse entry fees. Can't jack things up. We have to really be very, very careful, and that's a unique situation that other tournament trails don't have. How do you see that making us an organization that we are, and how we've grown?
I think in some ways it helps. In some ways it may be kind of a hindrance to not have the budget. We probably could do a better job of doing some of the things we do if we had a bigger staff. You know, when you say nonprofit, it's not only by name. We really are nonprofit.
That's right, nonprofit. That's
so,
right.
you know, we don't have the budget for a big staff. We actually have 3 full-time employees. That's myself, the national director, Al Odom, and our office manager, Sandra Danley. We have our regional directors are part-time, and all of our division directors are, as you know, are volunteers.
Yep.
We have a big staff of about 80 to 85 people, but most of those are volunteers. I think in the future, if there's a way we can put more people on staff, we can make things grow a little faster. But the upside to being a nonprofit, a 501c3, we do have some businessmen who want to make a contribution but don't want any advertisement in return. We are able to provide them with a tax-deductible contribution statement, so they can take that from their taxes. You know, and just the idea that we are a nonprofit, sometimes that instills confidence in other people's mind in what we're doing. You know, if we go to a church and ask for some support for a meeting that we're doing, and we tell them that we're a nonprofit ministry, that's easier than saying we're a fishing tournament company.
Right.
You know, we're not in it for the money. We're really not. If we were, we'd have quit a long time ago. We're in it because we want to win souls for the Lord.
Awesome, awesome. Anything else you want to tell us about Fish's Men when we wrap this thing up?
Well, I'm sure as we're shutting the cameras off, it'll all come to me. But right now, I think that's about it.
Awesome.